when I see that people who never studied acting open acting schools and teach acting, they never studied acting, never performed in films or on stage.
What makes someone a musician? What makes someone an artist?
If the spirit is corrupt, it's too early to talk about professionalism, industry, business.
One of the conflicts is that many people cannot imagine what it means to live like this.
Where is the keys? Where is the money? Who's giving me them? Where is the casting director here in the party?
We really have to be very conscious about our decisions, whom to work with, how and which contexts.
With that thing, you cannot create a genuine artistic career.
Labeling or categorizing or even creating some form of hierarchy.
I know that is for years. Many people bought a lot of fake likes and fake followers, not us.
Are you paying me for posting the videos?
Hello everyone, thank you for being with us. Those who follow us know that a couple of weeks ago I made a video about the Dunning-Kruger effect. In general, I talk a lot about this topic, and normally it triggers also a lot of resistance, a lot of inconvenience, and therefore I made that video about the Dunning-Kruger effect where I explained or I shared a story that happened to me in a certain context. I will not mention exactly what the context was. And Maria, she shared it because she felt right, and then it triggered a lot of resistance or some passion, and some people who got curious, some people asked questions about it, and the video or that post went viral. Many people got engaged and it got a lot of attention. In a certain level, Maria decided that, okay, it's nice, it's interesting. It might be relevant to make a video or an interview where she asks the questions that you posted in the comment sections. And we can all learn from it. Of course, those who are willing to learn from it, they might get inspired. This interview is relevant to professionals and those who want to be professionals in the art industry or in this field. Media production, music production, film production, video production, all the work that we are working with. Okay, so I said what I have to say. If you'd like to say anything or to start with the questions.
One first question, just for the sake of transparency, because it came up in the comment section. Are you paying me for posting the videos?
I'm not paying you for posting the video or the videos or the post or whatever. However, we are married, so I don't need to pay you anything in this context.
Absolutely.
So why would I pay my wife to share a video? Second, I pay you for projects when we have a project with other people, with other clients. Of course, I'm the director of the project and she's the music composer and the music producer. Of course, she gets paid, but not for the post. For projects that have to do with production. Yeah.
So that we get this out of the way. And why are you talking so much about Dunning-Kruger effect? Why is it exciting you, or why do you want to share this topic with the public?
Yeah, so first of all, I didn't want to talk about it. I never thought about it until I came to Germany and I came to Berlin and I saw the amount of confusion. And we will explain things now, but when I see that people who never studied acting, having acting schools, open acting schools, and teach acting. They never studied acting, they never performed in films or on stage, they never directed. But somehow there is a movement that makes people think that they are qualified and they can give justifications of intuition, and so people perceive themselves as qualified. There is no problem with that until damage starts to be caused by this. And not only damage to society, damage also to me personally. And I can also explain why this damages my work personally.
Yeah, that would be great.
But if you want to ask something else or to say something about this until now.
Yeah, I think that this question will be answered also on the way. And I'm going through some of the questions that were in the comment section or topics that came up that were really dominating. So something that was asked a lot or was talked about a lot is what makes someone a musician, or let's say what makes someone an artist in general. So the idea was, is it formal training, or what about self-taught musicians or artists that have a lot of dedication, that practice, that have abilities, that abilities to create, and they connect through music with others. And also because it was about improvisation. the story that you told, it had to do with improvisation. So is it the ability to improvise? Is it connected to formal training? Or is it more about telling a story? So this is all in this question, what makes someone a musician?
Okay.
Or artist?
In general, we need to differentiate between two sides of this equation, the professional world and the amateur world. In general, everyone, and I also stand for it, everyone have the right to express themselves, to enjoy creating art, to enjoy enriching their spirit with whatever they find relevant, whether it's art or sport or literature. Enjoy it. Yeah, this is why we are here. So I'm not, who am I? Or anyone who's coming to tell people you cannot do this and you cannot do that and you can, no, enjoy art, enjoy music, whether you improvise, whether you're not improvise, whether you're going to go on stage, whether you want to go off stage, whatever you want. However, the moment you start to take money from public funds and from the job center, you are taking money from me, from my taxes that I pay. You can call yourself a professional. You can call yourself a musician. I'm not here playing with names, and names are not the things that interest me. Mm-hmm. The holistic approach, the whole picture interests me. When somebody doesn't know that he doesn't know, but he thinks he knows, and he walks in Kreuzberg like a peacock, as he's an artist, and now he's living from the job center, while the lady from the Edeka or from the supermarket or from the penny or whatever, she works daily and pays taxes, and the guy from the DHL is working daily and pays his taxes, and the guy that picks the garbage works daily and pays taxes. And then comes an artist who's supposed to be a spiritual hero or an inspiring, and he's just living upon the wealth that the working people are providing. Now, here's the thing. We have no problem when we finance people who are handicaps, people who are not capable of working, old ladies, old people, old men. No problem. We want to live in a civilized society where everyone is living with dignity, and that's good. However, if someone is 30 years old, man or a woman, but he's too proud to work, he thinks he's too genius to work in DHL, he thinks he's an artist, and he's expecting to be treated as one, though he's not providing his knowledge of the industry, his knowledge of the business, his knowledge of the profession, are not giving him the ability to survive from his craft, from his abilities. But he thinks he can do it. And he thinks it's only a matter of job center that to save him, to give him time. He will not learn. He thinks he already knows. And he can attack me on Facebook for it, because he knows. And he keeps on with this ignorance, getting paid by public funds. And not only this, and some people even would go and they take what is in German called Zuschüsse, or public funds. Somebody thinks he's ready to make business and he's ready to work in this, and the system gives him money. I mean, if you're already a professional and you're already really ready as a knowledgeable artist or as a knowledgeable professional in any field, you would have created the wealth. You don't need anyone to give you any financial support.
I agree.
There's nobody to give you. You already create the wealth from your knowledge, from your expertise, unless you're a Dunning-Kruger effect who doesn't know and doesn't know what he doesn't know, and lives with a pride all over the place. And when people see him and me, and I'm an artist, people look down on me as I'm also one of those. There's also here not only the professional aspect of taking money from public funds, there's also the human aspect. They know that in order for someone to reach that level of professionalism, need a lot of discipline, a lot of knowledge, a lot of consistency, a lot of emotional value and spiritual value. As my microphone is on. A lot of spiritual values and emotional values in order for someone to sustain his life in the job that he claims to master. You cannot just bullshit your way to the top. They know it. And that's why there's a new And of course, I can understand that in a society where everyone is a genius, who dares to tell them that you don't know? Who dares to tell them that it's not this? Because when they get insulted, when they feel insulted, not only that they will have the support of the social power, they might have also the support of the system. They got insulted. And this is exactly why I made this story in my video, where many people ignored, took everything out of context, because if one would have focused on the essence of the story, one would have understood what I meant. But I felt that there was an intention not to understand it, in order not to face the truth that is hiding behind that understanding. My video of that story that I told aimed to tell my fellow professionals, I have the right not to play with people. They can enjoy it. And you know what? If someone is not a musician at all by any criteria, he doesn't know how to play music at all, not to improvise, he doesn't know chords, he knows like this. Even rhythm he doesn't know, okay? And this person succeeds to find one fan to enjoy his music and to listen to him and to pay him the ticket. And this ticket will sustain his money without being dependent on the job center. Enjoy you being a musician. You are a musician, no problem. I will not argue with that. But the moment you take money from public funds, because you don't have a fan base, because there's nobody to buy the ticket, because nobody sees value in what you have to offer, yet you want to force people like me, who have the mastery and the fan base and the ability to create wealth and value, you want to force people like me emotionally, to extort us emotionally and systematically, legally, in order for me to play with you. And if I don't want to play with you, I'm now becoming, who are you to tell us what to do? We know what we know. And I have the right not to play with you. Me, as a professional, just like anybody else, just like you have the right to play music, I have the right not to play with you. And if you ask me why, and I tell you the truth, and you get insulted by the truth, I tell you the truth because I care, because I have the intention that you might learn perhaps why I don't want to play with you. It's not because I don't like you as a man or as a woman or as a whatever label you like to call yourself with. It's not because of that. It's because there is a criteria that in order not to exhaust myself emotionally, and in order for me to enjoy the process, I gatekeep my life, yeah. I gatekeep my life. But not only gatekeep my life, I also gatekeep my business. Mm-hmm. I will not allow, sometimes I work with non-professionals in certain contexts, so I will not say I don't work with non-professionals. Sometimes I do work with non-professionals, and there's no problem in certain contexts. But many times, in order for me to hire people and to work with people and to interact with people, I will not risk the business and the credibility and the money of my clients in order for someone who thinks he knows but doesn't know not to get insulted. You know, we are not here, we're not paid by the taxes. We are not paid by public funds. We are, I don't know how many artists in Germany are not paid by public funds.
I think the percentage is super, super small. I heard something like 10% of artists are not in the public space, like the public, like theaters, concerts, halls, whatever, TV and so on. 10%, but that doesn't mean that those artists are not paid by funds that they privately apply for. So the percentage must be really, really low.
Yeah. This is the thing.
I don't find statistics. I try to find them. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Like really, I just don't know, really. I've never met, we are one of those who never, for 13 years, I'm in Germany, as selbstständig artist, in my profession, only in my profession, didn't work in any other field, never took any job center, no Zuschüsse, no support from public funds. We never applied for public funds.
Cent.
In the Corona, so forth, Hilfe, whatever, we never applied for any of those of things. Everything that we are sustaining our life financially is based on our knowledge and understanding of our profession, of the industry, of the business, and the spirit is ready for it. Because if the spirit is not ready for it, you cannot build anything on it. Nothing will be built on it. If the mindset is not there, the mindset of what it means why you are here in the first place. We're not here just to get money from the government and to show our friends and families that we are famous in order for them to be proud of us. This is not the idea. This is not the idea. We have our own why, our own reasons why we do what we do. And that is what leads all our actions. So we cannot, somebody like this, who is never paid by any governmental entity, not institutions, not anything, and for sure not from private families, are also not this. All is built upon the knowledge of our profession. Somebody like this, when I'm having a client and I'm leading a project, it's my project, I have my client, I have my fan base, I cannot, in this context, every mistake that I make, I'm going to pay the price for it, not the government, not the bureaucrats. Also the bureaucrats, when they make mistakes, when people from the Zuschüsse or people from those who work with the government, they make mistakes, it's not them who pay the price. It's the taxpayer who pays the price, or somebody else, but not the one who made the mistakes. In our context, we are the people who pay for success or for failure. So I'm not going to betray my clients, I'm not going to betray my fan base for somebody to feel good with themselves. So yes, I will gatekeep. Yeah. I also talk about gatekeeping, but it's not that kind of gatekeeping. I'm talking about the gatekeeping of bureaucrats who also don't have the knowledge of the profession, yet they've been designated by nepotism. It means that, you know what nepo babies are? People that get positions because their parents or their families are part of the system or part of the politics or part of... That kind of nepo baby is a gatekeeper that can decide which artist is relevant and which artist is not relevant based on not knowing. He's the Dunning-Kruger effect himself. He doesn't know it. He doesn't have the knowledge himself. Go talk to those gatekeepers who are preventing from society to grow. The whole economy is collapsing. There's also, when you ask me why I'm talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect, you have a whole economy is collapsing, especially in Europe and especially in Germany, while people just keep on living from the system and not feeling anything bad about it. Really, there's no, it's not connected with shame.
Not
They're
at
really
all.
proud, and they get angry when you talk about it, even. I expect from adults to have some dignity. You know, dignity is not only in the Grundgesetz writing dignity und unantastbar, die mentioned würde. Dignity is I'm not going to live as a Belastung, as a burden upon the system or upon society when I can work. And if I don't have the knowledge and if I don't have the skill, I go and learn. This is an indication that I don't know. I go to learn. I don't attack those who say the truth. Dignity is an adult man, adult woman, who are aware of all this.
Responsibility.
Responsibility.
Also big topic. So what I hear from this answer is that we cannot ignore the context in which all this is happening. We cannot just talk about what is a musician or what is a professional musician or professional artist by ignoring the whole context of society. How are those earning their money? Where are they working? Where are they applying their art? To whom? We cannot just ignore this. And people want to ignore all this and just to stick with criteria like skills, technical skills, someone learned so and so many years or didn't learn, or hobbyists who have intuitive talent for playing music. Because I agree, yes, there are people who don't have a formal training, but they learn in other ways and they really become great musicians in the sense of they're very skilled and they can really play and move audience. But this, what you describe, is a much more holistic picture. So you have much more aspects to it, not just being able to play music, an instrument in front of an audience and to make them begeistert, excited about it, but also who you are as a human and how you are, in case it's something you call a business or you call yourself professional. Are you running a business? Is it something that you can live from? And do you have all those abilities that it needs to sustain this? So this is what I hear. So the whole context and the holistic picture. in all aspects. So we are not just musicians that play technically or even move emotionally. It's much more than this. If you want to sustain yourself in this business, you need to know a lot more things. You need to be able to bring also bread to the table in the end, to sell your art, the whole business aspect. Someone was saying here, Dieter Bohlen, he's one of the examples of not being skilled at all in music, but being skilled in business. But it sounded to me more like a negative judgment, like he's not a positive example of musicianship. But from what you say, he built a whole business around it, and he's not sitting on the money of the government, on the taxes. He's bringing money to Germany. So it's a whole different thing than those people that may be very skilled, very talented, but they are taking job center money constantly. I mean, some say, come on, we are musicians, we are creative people. How are we supposed to know how to run a business? This is not in our blood. This is not supposed to be in our abilities. We should be just all the time in this creative flow. So what would you say to someone like this when they're coming with this argument? They say, like, I should have money from the government because I'm such an amazing musician. I'm moving the audience, but I just have zero business skills or zero abilities to transform it into something to earn money from it.
Okay. Creativity is literally creating value, creating something.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to create, you're not creative. This is the whole idea. They love to call themselves creatives. Technical skill will soon be replaced by AI. If you're good technically, you'll be replaced. Yeah. The idea of creativity, you can create value. Call it business, call it a product, call it a piece of art, call it whatever you want to call it. I'm not here to talk about labels. You know, people love to stick to labels, and now you need to argue what is a professional and what is a... I don't care about labels. Dieter Bohlen created value. Who am I to say that who was a musician was not a musician? He created value. There's a fan base that loved what he has to offer. He brought money to Germany from all over the world. He enriched the German economy. Not the bureaucrats are good with channeling the budgets and to spend the budgets. Somebody like Dieter Bohlen was one of those who brought money from outside Germany to Germany. He's the one who enriches Germany. The bureaucrats are the ones who consume the wealth. The creative is one who creates the wealth. You can want to call it a musician, you want to call it a professional. Use the terminology that you want, in my opinion even, because those terms are very confusing. Very, like when you talk about the art industry, which industry are you talking about? There is no art industry. There is the Ministry of Culture. Just like you said, you have the Ministry of Transportation and you have the car industry. The Ministry of Transportation is different than the car industry. The Ministry of Communication is different than the cell phones industry. The Ministry of Education is not an industry. The courts are not an industry. Anything that is being paid by bureaucracy and by the system and by the state is not an industry. So those who work on TV, paid by the government, just wait a moment before you call it an industry. It's not an industry, it's the ministry. Mm-hmm. The industry, the car industry, the whatever you produce, the industry is what produces value regardless of the state. So people call the art industry a theater that has been subsidized by the state, and a theater that really has value and that people choose to pay by free will to watch its play because they know what they're doing. The other theater is paid by the state. It doesn't have to justify its value because it's paid by the state. So they don't have to sell so much tickets, and yet everybody will be paid normally. To the non-professional eye, both of them, you can call them theaters and the art industry. To the non-professional eye. To the professional eye, wait a moment. You cannot ignore economy. You cannot ignore the economical system of both, even when both are theaters. This film production and that film production, you want to tell me that Hollywood, you want to tell me that Eric Clapton and Springsteen and even Brad Pitt and anything from that culture took money from the job center? Those gods lived upon the job center. Those revolutionaries, those inspiring gods that detected everything in the human spirit and gave it reflection and observation, and they have the judgment of seeing what is right and wrong, what is relevant, what is irrelevant, is the same person that the job center artist who gets anything so easily without even need to develop the basic judgments of life, of what is right and what is wrong, what is knowledge and what is ignorance. And if you show them the difference and you reflect, they get irritated and angry and attack you. Is Hollywood for so many years that it was an American economical column. Hollywood brought a lot of money to the United States. It was a whole industry that its success was based upon the competence and the knowledge and the skill of the creators. Not like what's happening in Germany, the tax money, the politicians, the bureaucrats, channel the money to the filmmakers to make films, and after the film is made, everyone got paid, put it in the archive. It's over. This film will not be sold outside Germany. The money has been divided. It's enough now. Put it in the archive. Move on to the next project from the tax money. You want to call this and that the same industry? You can use the word industry, I don't care. If you like the word industry so much, you can use the word industry. But it is not that simplistic. There is a lot of details in how art is being created and how profession is being... You can call yourself a professional if you like. So not me. Who am I to decide if you're a professional or not? The question is, are you happy with it? Are you really convinced that you're a professional if you are not capable of sustaining yourself from your own profession? Regardless now if you're an artist or you're selling coffee. Regardless of what is your profession, you can call yourself professional if you like. The question is if you're really convinced that you're a professional, if you cannot sustain yourself, selbstständig, self-reliant from your own profession. And then they tell you they have intuition and they go start to make coachings. The same people who, you know what? People that go take Zuschüsse, now regardless of art in general, people take money from the job center or Zuschüsse, and then they fail miserably and they lose all the money, they go insolvent, they get bankrupt because they don't have the capacity and they don't have the knowledge and the skill, how they can leverage that investment and how they can really create wealth. So they lose all the money, but nobody knows that. Society thinks, yeah, he was a businessman. After he goes bankrupt, he keeps a couple of years taking money from the job center in order not to pay what he had to pay. And after that, he becomes a coach, a business coach, because he had a history in business. He had a history in business. Who can tell him he didn't have a history in business? Who can tell him that?
Yeah, this is so widespread. Oh my God.
And it would not bother me if not people like us are paying for all this corruption, are paying for all this kindergarten. So if you want to ask me why I'm telling those stories, why I'm obsessed with the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's not now, for so many years I've been talking about it, because this is one of the main themes that even, not only that we pay for it, but even when somebody sees this guy dressed like a Berliner or whatever this word is supposed to mean, and sees some people like us who actually work and create value, and they don't know that this person is financed by my taxes. The only reason that this person can sustain his profession or his business or whatever is because of our taxes. When the average citizen, the non-professional, when he sees us both, he can say, maybe he's better because he is from Berlin. Maybe he's a better professional.
He's more like us.
He's more like this, and he looks like this, and maybe he's... So here, I am financing something else against me. who's not going to contribute to the economy, he doesn't have the knowledge and doesn't have the skill, is going just to rob it of its power. And then everybody's crying and asking about why the economy is collapsing. Maybe what is happening in China, maybe it's globalism, maybe it's migrants, maybe it's refugees, or everything. But not to look at oneself in the mirror and to say, maybe I'm not that superior. Maybe I'm not that genius. As I was taught in the kindergarten, everyone is creative in the kindergarten. You don't need to have achievements. You don't need to have proofs. Everybody is creative. Who dares to tell anybody is not creative? You'll be sued. And they grow up with this feeling, and then life is not nice. Like the kindergartnerin. It's not nice.
And they want to have access to everything like they did when they were young, which is also, again, bringing us to this gatekeeping topic. I want to talk a bit more about this because you already said what the definition is, that you understand gatekeeping. It's a legit definition. But nowadays they use it more in the context of excluding people from participating in something like in art, or categorizing people, or saying those are professionals, those are not, or this type of art expression is legit or this is not. So it's been used in a whole different context, and it popped up so many times in the comments. That's why I think it's something we can talk even more about in depth. And let me just check if there was something specific. Yeah, so it's actually this question again about if there should be formal rules or concepts that define who is a musician or artist, and what is real art, so this idea of conformity versus freedom, and who can decide who participates in what, and like in your example, in
my business,
video.
I decide.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my business. It's my client, and it's my fan base. I decide who I'm going to work with and who I'm going to work with.
Absolutely.
Nobody can force me to hire somebody just like this. And I cannot even in this context, people who never experienced that, what it means to be genuinely free from bureaucracy, from the job center, from the 9-to-5 jobs, what it really means. In this context, I cannot even discriminate based on any label. All I want is competence. You come with competence, of course, competence on some kind of also basic common sense, loyalty, some values, some empathy, some gratitude, to show who you are a human being. Sometimes I also work with non-professionals, and I love to work also sometimes with non-professionals when they come with a set of values that I don't find it among professionals even. So there are non-professionals who I love to work with, who I appreciate as human beings, and I know that they respect, that they come on time, that they do what they said they're going to do, and I can trust them, and they are loyal. So even non-professionals can sometimes be amazing. But what I decide, my business, it is based on my judgment, because I'm the one who's paying the price for losing or winning. Everyone who's sovereign, you can decide for your own life.
But don't take this right from me, don't take this right from you, because we have to set boundaries in our profession. And I think one of the conflicts is that many people in that group particular, but I think in general in society, cannot imagine what it means to live like this, like we do, living from our art directly, and we don't have a buffer or any, how you say, like an extra net or something. Everything that we do transfers directly into our living, how we make living. So also all our actions are directly backfiring positively or negatively. So we really have to be very conscious about our decisions, whom to work with, how and which contexts, and so and so. So those criteria of deciding, let's say, labeling or categorizing or even creating some form of hierarchy, I honestly think it's super, super important to keep them, to have them. You need to have some criterias. I understand that people want the world to be hierarchy-free. Everyone should be equal, and all those ideas.
They can enjoy it in their lives. I have no problem. If in their lives they want to enjoy, do whatever in their lives. It's far away from me because I'm a different person and I have the right to live however I want.
Exactly.
They can live in their lives however they want. They can improvise with whoever they want. They can enjoy art and creativity. Whatever you want. Just don't force me to accept something that I don't want to accept. I also have the right.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. It's also one form of living life or one form of expression. And also in our case, it really has direct consequences. So we cannot just allow certain things. And also time. Just when someone comes to you, also to me, actually, the same person also wanted to improvise with me, with voice. So it is also time. Time is a resource. So I will very consciously decide what I spend my time with, who I spend my time with. So there has to be some outcome. I'm not just sitting here playing around, improvising music, jamming. I stopped going to those jam sessions years ago because it really doesn't go anywhere. I mean, you practice your skill. It's nice. You get some experience with working in different contexts and with different dynamics and so on. So, but I just say on the bigger picture, it doesn't go anywhere because the people are not independent and sovereign. So it's not like you start to work with inspiring people after this. So yeah, I also have my criteria here to say no. I need to work with people that bring something to the table. And it doesn't need to be necessarily a super professional, high-skilled talent or ability on an instrument. It can be something else, like more human or someone who... But we share something, so it can't be that we are maintaining this business like this and then people want to ride on it. Because this is also in this case, the story that you told, you are present online. You are very present. You have a huge followership. So some people don't know you have also a channel with almost 100,000 followers, which is not so obvious, visible. But so when you bring someone on board, even if you are not a professional musician or guitarist, to improvise with, to film it, to put it out there, whatever, there need to be a reason for it. Also,
even also here, the story, I think, it has been taken out of context.
Yeah.
Because it was not about playing music. I talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect for a long time. And this specific story was not about the playing music and improvising. I know many people took it out of context. Mm-hmm. It was about sharing an idea with my fellow professionals in how, even when we are finding creative ways outside the box, on showing the evidence of what it means, this person, when a person doesn't know that he or she doesn't know, and they come with that attitude of knowing it and they want to put me in trouble. And if I say no, it might get belied, it might get insulted and then attack me, and then a whole conflict comes out of that. A whole conflict comes out of that interaction because I refuse to play. Mm-hmm. And they see a migrant, they think you have to play because they are the masters of the place. What do you mean you don't want to play? Why? Because I'm a woman? Or why? Because I'm a this? Because I'm a that? Because I'm a this?
Rejecting a German?
You're rejecting me? So I had to find a creative way to lay the evidence out there. And this evidence could have not been created if you don't know the business. And that evidence was told in the story as I told it. And the idea was, though the person has seen the evidence and couldn't refute it, because the person knew that is not me who's rejecting them, but it's actually, objectively, they cannot do what they claim that they can do. That moment, they could have not attacked me anymore, because I vindicated myself. Yet, instead of saying, okay, thank you for now I understand, oh my God, how this was behind, I didn't think about it, oh, you just showed me that I don't know. Instead of saying that, they double down. They get angry, they get aggressive, they get toxic, and even some of them would go and spread misinformation about that situation. So we are dealing not only with Dunning-Kruger people who are like kind of don't know that they don't know. In this context, they can be dangerous. They can be dangerous to professionals. And this is the idea that I wanted to show with my fellow professionals, people who follow me also, people who follow me for many years, that they're inspired by the ideas. You shared it to people who never was exposed to my content, so that people have no idea what is this all about. But my message was addressing specific kind of people. An idea how to save yourself from factors who can twist reality, who can rewrite the narrative. You lay the evidence out there. And this thing saved me. So, and I have a lot of stories like this where I share it in specific contexts, but the fact that I share this story online and many people identified with the other side, it only shows me how this phenomenon is significant. How it is really significant to pay attention to, and because this job center mindset is the reason behind the destruction of this economy. I'm not talking about job center that you give to people who need it, to old people and people who are handicapped. I'm talking about job center that is being given to people who don't want to work on their head because they are thinking that they are higher value, that they are Künstler, that they are artists. They don't want to work in any job because but yet they are living from that. They become a burden on society, while they expect from society to treat them as highly spiritual people, artists. There is so this is the reason why I shared that specific story.
Yeah. It also bothered me that it was that many focused on the details of the story, how you told it, and they were really moving away from the topic itself, which is Dunning-Kruger. You could have told any other story, even a story of someone else, or it was not about that. It was just an example. You could have replaced it with something else, but I felt it was some way of deflecting, not to talk about the real issue. I mean, some were talking about the real issue, let's not forget this. Or some were at least sharing their ideas or thoughts. But specific, this Dunning-Kruger thing, it was like kind of swiped away from the table very quickly. Like, yeah, everybody has a bit of someone was saying, everybody goes through a phase like this, when they learn an instrument. At some point they think they're genius on the way, and then it goes back down. This is not what we're talking about. We know this kind of phenomena. Yeah, this is. So anyway, everyone has this process of learning something new, but this is not.
Yeah, I had people attacking me even on Twitter a long time ago, from other countries. We just had the proof that this phenomenon is false. False. Everything is wrong. And when you research about who are the people that find this phenomenon irrelevant, those are either bureaucrats or people who are comfortable or people who don't need to be the best of the best in order to survive financially.
Yeah.
People don't need to be very knowledgeable in their profession and in their field. Some privileged people, systematic privileges, some other kind of privileges. So they don't like it when you talk about this phenomenon because they are getting what they get without reaching that kind of mastery. And when you talk about mastery, you reflect to them that they are not masters as they wish it to be, while they're pretending to be, and they're getting all the privileges of that thing, but they know deep down that what you are saying is right. Otherwise, they would have not been so triggered.
So it's a cover-up of shame.
Yeah, there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of shame. And instead of finding ways how to heal that shame, with following an ethical code, with finding a new path. They double down. They cover it with more layers of pride. And then it becomes impossible. And those people get more and more toxic. And that's why also I gatekeep them out. I keep them out. Because those non-professional, those Dunning-Krugers are not only coming with lack of skill, they come with a lot of other set of problems that I don't want to deal with.
An entitlement.
Yeah. Entitlement, not only profession, it's also the mensch, the human being, the geist, the spirit of the person. There is something that we need to work on. And there is no economy that can be built without spirit. This opportunistic spirit, the spirit of opportunism, the spirit of pride, the spirit of jealousy, you cannot build a sustainable economy on it. And I don't know when those die da oben will understand this, because they're just like this. Die da oben, genau wie die da unten. This is the same reflection of each other. While people like us are actually the ones who are financing this economy, those are exploiting it, and then they come to us to tell us,
they're angry that we are using those terms,
that we are
setting boundaries.
Yeah. And even some people, what you said before about how this attitude is totally outside their conception, because it's so outside their ability to conceive it. So say, no. It must be something there that I don't know. It must be something. Either it's a scammer, or if maybe it's a fake account. Maybe it is a cult. You remember those people?
Yeah.
They started, because they cannot conceive that, no, it's a legitimate business, an artist who created legitimate fan base with a legitimate business, with everything for so many years sustainable, without the money from the government, without begging for the bureaucrats and for the politicians to give some of the money. None of that. It's genuine, just like this, for so many years, because they cannot conceive it. So they start to say, no, it cannot be. And every time they find that their theory is false, which is actually, there's not a fake account. There's actually a real fan base. Not only that they don't give up, they start to get more angry, because then they start to realize that, the truth is coming out. It cannot be that this is real. Let's find any lie to invalidate it. And then they started to call me AFD.
Yeah.
AFD.
From where? Me too.
Any misinformation, any lies, just to avoid the reflection of who they really are. So, yeah.
No, I had to block some people even. I mean, it was not possible to continue like this, unfortunately. No, I also didn't expect this. I thought we are going to have a discussion that may be very heated, very, hot and so, about the topics. But I didn't expect that it's going into a personal attack crusade or something like this. I mean, good, until now I know the scene also good enough that I could have expected this, but...
the moral corruption that I saw in this interaction, it was overwhelming. And you know what? With people who are morally corrupt, we cannot talk sense. There's no evidence, there's no argument, logical argument, there's no evidence can change. The morally corrupt is already corrupt, senseless. But anyway, let's talk.
Yeah,
let's have questions.
I have
from real
some
people
other great questions, also about Dunning-Kruger. So, what they came from DMs. So, what are the negative effects on individuals who exhibit the Dunning-Kruger effect?
You mean the person who doesn't know?
Yeah, the person who
okay.
is acting on it. I think this is what it means, yeah.
I think this person, first of all, is on a self-destruction path, but he's going to destroy his environment first. Because if he doesn't know, and doesn't know that he doesn't know, also people who are non-professionals don't see the difference between him and somebody who actually knows. Because the one who doesn't know and doesn't know that he doesn't know comes with a lot of self-confidence. And to the non-professional eye, that person and the confidence of the expert, or the knowledgeable, or the skilled, look the same. They look the same. And perhaps also even the ignorant, the confident ignorant, maybe is even more, because he doesn't know that he doesn't know, even more confident.
Yeah.
So people might let's say, buy his product or follow his idea or take him as a leadership or whatever. And then he will, first of all, lead the group into destruction. And every time, until there's no scapegoats anymore, there's no ignorant, nobody to follow him anymore, he will go himself into self-destruction. And there's also a reason that also blocked them. Let them live with their own self-destruction tendencies, and we cannot save someone who's already morally corrupt. There's something that I already...
it's not a harmless thing. So it kind of also answers the second question. What are the typical characteristics and underlying motivations of those affected by it? Maybe, yeah, we didn't talk so much about the motivations.
Some people want to receive acknowledgement without giving what it takes. You go to, think about you go to the supermarket and you want to buy apples. You don't want to pay for it, but you want the apples. You want them to give it to you, but you don't want to give the value of why you should deserve it. That is the person. But in our world, in the world of art and in our profession, because the things are not so much measurable, so people cannot see the one-on-one. Especially though for so many years, those boundaries have been blurred.
Yeah.
Those boundaries have been blurred. So
this reminds me also of some people I've met also in my life, in my music professional life, that they had a total different profession over years, and let's say as an insurance person or bank employee, whatever, like a profession that brings a lot of money. And they, with this money, they buy a studio and a lot of expensive equipment. And because it looks good, it looks impressive, and people can't make distinctions, like you say, people don't know what is what. So they get impressed and they think like, wow, what is this studio, this equipment? Oh my God, this person must be on such a high level of profession. They totally confuse the monetary resources that they built from some other profession with the actual competence. And so people are going to fall for this. And they're going to book those people because of their impressive location and equipments, and might not even notice that the quality of the work is very low. I mean, I had this experience myself, so just can say that I was investing, unfortunately, in the beginning when I was still naive, and I also was falling for this, and I was investing so much money, really thousands, into people that just had impressive equipment, but the audible result was so disappointing. And it's like until today I'm angry, not angry, but it's really in my heart still, because it was such a wonderful project. It bothers me until today, that I think like I need to re-record. That's also why I started to become a music producer myself. You encouraged me in this time, I remember.
I was traumatized from those experiences, especially when I came in the beginning to Germany. I never thought to myself that somebody who introduces himself as a music producer with such an impressive studio, that he doesn't know what he's doing. He's an insurance guy that gathered a lot of money, like you explained, and he bought equipment, and he calls himself a music producer. I never imagined that this is something like this is possible in Germany. That somebody has the audacity to do such a thing. And yeah, we lost a lot of money in that project, but I got a slap in the face and learned forever. I'm looking, there's a whole different story. Many people even, like this banker.
Yeah.
You make a lot of money in the bank, and then you buy equipment and you become a music producer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because while music production has nothing to do with you need really to dedicate your life and profession and the knowledge to pursue that. If you want to enjoy it for your free time, I mean, it's fine, do it. But coming to attack me personally, because I'm talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect, because you know that you're a banker, you didn't dedicate all your life for that cause, and now I'm exposing certain truth and you get hurt and then you attack me. The moment you attack me now, I'm going to talk about it. A banker, insurance guy, a lawyer, he's a lawyer. Artists work in a certain way, and insurance and bankers and lawyers have access to the public money because they know how to fill paper. Now, who's professional? Who's an artist? Who's a musician? Who am I to say?
Yeah. I mean, let's say at least in some of those cases, those people build their studios with the money that they earned from a different job. At least, I think some of them do, but they might not have taken job center money. But
those
still,
less bother me. You know what?
It's a deception. I mean, the problem is with artists who can't distinguish. I mean, people might ask me now, but didn't you hear examples, audio examples or something? Oh yes, I was listening to a lot of audio examples, but I was also deceived because those were not just recorded by this person, but also by other credible people, skilled people, that they remixed and made master from it and so on, so on, so. So I didn't know the details. I was deceived. This is something that I've also experienced in Berlin often. I know a graphic designer who didn't study this profession, but he took the material of someone else that he worked with on projects, but it was actually not his credit, but he just kind of stole the credit just to present himself on the internet to look impressive. So there's many ways people can deceive and fake and manipulate. It's really shocking me sometimes because people are filling their CVs and their websites with amazing words, and they fill the CVs with like accomplishments that sounds so impressive, award-winning, so and so, and da da da. And when you dig a little bit, you see that some of those awards are even bought, just bought. They're not existing. Those are not legit competitions that took place, or like you have a lot of those phenomena. And I don't know how people do this, that they are shamelessly putting this stuff out there in their CVs. Also in the acting world, I experienced this. Someone spoke one time, one sentence in Italian. They put in their CV, I'm speaking some Italian, just because they one time learned from an Italian to speak one sentence. You know, just an example, but it's really inflacious. It's just crazy. And then I'm so... what I put into my CV and on my website, I want to be so honest and so transparent. Everything has to be exactly, and with dates and with proof and But people see this and that, and they think, oh yeah, that's the same. She has all this, they have all this, but they also have awards. Oh my God, they must be much better music producer. They have awards. Like those... People don't know that you can buy awards online. You can there's a lot of bullshit competitions. You just apply with money and in the end, you get an award in all fields, in the film industry anyway. They have all those badges on their films. And someone was asking me recently if we apply with our series that we produced, if we apply for some festivals. And I was saying, oh no, we are not those kinds of people applying for these things, because also this industry is full of deception and fake. So there's so much. Don't get me started on that. That's a whole other topic, but just...
but those artists,
that's why it's difficult to distinguish, to find the real professionals. It's difficult. Yeah.
I mean, those who work in the bank or in insurance, and then they buy equipments, and they say they will call themselves music producers, they bother me less. You know what? They and their clients deserve each other. And I was one time a client, and I learned it the hard way, and I never come back to that kind of So they and their clients deserve each other until they learn that nothing will happen out of it, and they can enjoy their lives. What is really bothers me, and what made this Dunning-Kruger effect, is only those who live from public funds, while those public funds are supposed to go to incapable people, to people who are not old people, and people who cannot work, handicapped, yeah. So they use this public funds while living the life of highly spiritual people who actually can guide humanity into salvation. And they have opinions about life, and they have judgment, what you should do, what you should not do. Sie belehren, wie das Leben gehen muss. But you're a job center artist.
Yeah.
Stop. Stop trying to teach me how life is. You need to learn a lot. And then you come to, because they have no case, the ego gets hurt so much to twist everything into just misinformation. Anyway, I'm going back to this place. From here.
Yeah, now.
Let's have
but there's two closing questions that are interesting. So, so since this Dunning-Kruger effect is so dominant, and it's like a dominating society here in the Berlin art scene, what can we do to improve the situation? So how can we get out of this, let's say, as a...
Eliminate the job center mentality.
Yeah.
Eliminate the job center mentality, the social mentality. Those who don't know, they need to learn. They're not ready. The job center mentality keeps any ignorant think that, I'm surviving financially on my own. What do you want? You sit in front of a person who's a job center artist, who's getting money from the job center in the same room, and he tells you, well, how much money do you have? I have more than you. I'm having money from the job. Why do you think you can teach anything? I'm also surviving financially. I have nothing to learn. You know, the job center mentality messed with people's minds. They think they are really geniuses and they are really doing it, while not knowing that they are not knowing, and have the audacity also to attack anyone who is questioning that.
Yeah.
And eliminating the job center mentality. The whole job center system must be eliminated.
It needs a complete different mindset.
If you want to shut down this Dunning-Kruger effect, do you imagine in China today, anyone calls himself, I'm like this and like that? In the American market, can anyone go on, even in where I came from? Do you think anyone dares to go on the street to call himself something that he's not? That he didn't study, that he didn't master? People will kick their 3 dots. Yeah.
This is something you told me in the beginning when you came here, and I remember how shocked you were about the art scene here and how random it is. And I learned a lot from this because you brought a complete different mindset, a complete different perspective from where you came from, where you studied, and how you made your career. It was also totally new to me, totally new. So, because I was also in that state back then, that I thought I need to somehow get access to the money of the government and to get Zuschüsse and all this for projects. And I still was thinking that way, and I couldn't imagine that it is possible to completely independently live from your art, from your creations. It was really outside of... I was imagining that something like this should be possible, but I couldn't imagine how, in Berlin especially. And you brought it. You came from outside. Also, you never lived here before, and you made it happen. And I saw it with my own eyes, this whole process from A to Z. So this gave me a lot of encouragement. I mean, we made it together then also step by step. But it just shows that even if you are not from this society, you don't have all these privileges. Even you have... in a sense, you have minus privileges. You are being seen as an intruder or someone who's not equal to the others. So people look at you in a different way. They put you even down. They look from above, like from there. So and yet you made it. So this is just
you don't have the language. You don't have network.
Exactly, no network, no language. I also didn't have this huge network and all this. I tried my way somehow, but. I had all the privileges of being a German, and I couldn't do it that far, and you made it, and it just shows that it's possible. So all those excuses why people still stick to the job center, that's why you are not buying them. And I understand this totally, and I also don't buy them anymore because I've seen it by example that it's even with the obstacles. So that, yeah, this is great. Okay, so and then would be the last question. How can a musician become successful in this jungle of deception, opposing interests and unfair distributions and privileges in the Berlin scene? So that's a huge question, actually.
You need to start from the Geist, from the spirit. It is not, you need authenticity, sovereignty. No, not labels, not cliche authenticity. I'm also authentic. I'm also creative. Everyone calls himself authentic and creative. You need to be authentic and creative by action, not just for self-flattery. People love to flatter themselves, call themselves creative and authentic. No. The Geist, to be authentic, to be creative, you need to be sovereign. There's a lot of cliches and self-identifications of people putting layering on themselves that they stop seeing reality as is. And every time you scratch that surface, they go wild. There needs a little bit of humility, a little bit of gratitude. Many people are buying 100% into the materialistic reality that they don't believe that there is spirit anymore. What is spirit? I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about loyalty, commitment, discipline, love, empathy, care. Do you love what you do, or you just do it in order to prove something to someone else? Passion. If I want to dedicate all my life for this journey, and I love what I'm doing, I'm doing it in the face of all challenges. It's not the first challenge that I'm having, I'm going to get money from the job center. 9. Every time you take money from there, you lose your self-esteem. You become more ashamed of yourself. And in order to cope with that shame, you cover it with stories and with cliches and with self-identifications. And then you come, when someone like us coming to tell you the truth, instead of using it as an opportunity for you to get out of that mess, they try to destroy it. So kind of the spirit is corrupt. If the spirit is corrupt, it's too early to talk about professionalism, it's early to talk about industry, it's early to talk about business, it's early to talk about all the manifestations of that spirit. If the spirit is already opportunistic, where is the keys? Where is the money? Who's giving me them? Where is the casting director here in the party? Who should I smile to? Who should I smile to?
Gatekeepers.
If you're not giving me any, I will not smile to you. Oh, you look like you're not important. Then those people that walk like this, you see the opportunism and see this corrupt spirit. With that thing, you cannot create a genuine artistic career where you have a genuine fan base, not fake accounts. I know that is in for years. Many people bought a lot of fake likes and fake followers. Not us.
Oh yeah.
Not us. But I know that a lot did it. So you cannot project on us something that everybody else did. You want a genuine fan base, a genuine artistic career where you can genuinely create income out of it, where you can channel your message to the universe, to the world, to people, and at the same time be rewarded and acknowledged financially. That kind of work, it needs the right spirit. You cannot fake it. There are no shortcuts. As high the branches are, as deep the roots are. You cannot fake it, because under the ground, under earth, nobody sees what's happening. So you can compromise the roots, thinking that you will go high, which will not happen. So it is the spirit. Start with authenticity and sovereignty and responsibility and adulthood and maturity and empathy and emotional wealth, and you need then from there constructive communication skills, not narcissistic communication that is group dynamics oriented. There's a whole world of. That's why also I think that there is no. Everybody's talking about technical solutions for how to solve this thing, economy, this whatever. There's no technical solutions. The whole spirit must be addressed.
Yeah.
But it's painful to talk about it.
Yeah, that's also much
you
more
will trigger the shame of so many people.
Yeah, I can also speak about myself. It really requires to be so open-minded. You need to be willing to break your everything that you know, to question it in a sense. Everything that I knew about the business and the path and from the German perspective, I needed to be willing to question it, to look at every detail and to break it in a sense, to really open up to a complete new mindset and a new idea, a new perspective. It's not so easy. It's not easy at all. It can be painful. It can be really uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable for a while.
It is almost, for so many people, it's almost impossible. It is really, there's so self-identifications that it's really painful to take them away. It is painful.
Yeah, all those concepts, all those filters. And if you have someone that helps you, it should be someone that is sovereign and independent and responsible and really lives in that way already, not someone from the job center.
The solution, eliminating this job center mentality and this social mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you are not ready, if you don't have the skill set and the knowledge to create that business that you claim that you have a business plan for, it means that you're not ready to create it. It means that you're not ready to create it. You cannot just, people say, I'm ready. All I need is just a capital to start my business. No. This capital is not the problem. It's the geist, it's the knowledge, it's the readiness, it's the skill. There's a whole other things. And the easiest thing is to focus on technicalities, on the äußerlich. The easiest thing. Anyway, you have more questions?
I think that's all, and that were the concluding questions. Yeah, we covered everything.
Okay, nice. Then thank you everyone for staying with us. I hope now things are more clear, and I hope we could inspire. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being with us. I'm Shredy Jabarin.
I'm Maria GoJa.
Ciao.
Bye.
Oh, we didn't record.
No!